Welcome to the AI Checkpoints. Today, we're diving deep into the really fascinating world of next-generation AI agents. You sent us a fantastic stack of insights from some industry leaders, and our mission today is basically to cut through the noise. We want to give you the most important nuggets and get you up to speed on what these, well, powerful AI systems actually mean for the future.
Yeah, and what's truly amazing here is just how quickly the landscape for these AI agents is evolving. It's moving fast. We'll be synthesizing insights we've gathered from experts at places like AWS, Tripadvisor, Oracle Health, and Temporal, exploring not just what AI agents are, but really why they seem poised to redefine so many experiences, and maybe more importantly, how companies are actually building them at scale, tackling some, frankly, incredibly tough challenges. So yeah, let's unpack this.
Okay, so let's start with the big picture then. The buzz around AI agents is definitely everywhere, especially in tech circles. But for those of us trying to really grasp their impact, what exactly are we talking about here when we say AI agent? And, what makes them such a fundamental shift from maybe previous AI advancements we've seen?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the general feeling among these leaders seems to be that AI agents are sort of the next wave. They're poised to fundamentally reinvent, well, virtually every customer experience we know, and maybe even enable entirely new ones we haven't thought of yet. Companies like Amazon, and this comes from Anshay Barth at AWS, they truly believe this. They're envisioning a future where you have these specialized AI agents seamlessly working together, almost like a team of human experts, right? Collaborating to solve a problem for you.
Right, like a specialist team. And it's not just theoretical talk about reinventing experiences, is it? These agents are apparently already pretty deeply embedded in Amazon's own operations. What's the scale of that internal adoption, and how does that maybe influence their public-facing stuff, especially with something as huge as Alexa?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just theory. The AWS presentation really highlighted Alexa Plus as one of the most ambitious deployments of AI agents out there. They described it as representing the largest integration of services, agentic capabilities, and LLMs. Those are the large language models, kind of the brain anywhere. Just think about it. Over 600 million Alexa devices out in the world. Now reimagined to work through hundreds of these specialized expert systems.
Expert systems. Okay, what are those exactly?
Think of them as like highly focused pre-trained modules.
Yeah.
Or maybe mini agents. Each one is designed to handle a specific type of capability, like finding restaurants or managing your calendar, that kind of thing. And these expert systems then orchestrate across, get this, tens of thousands of partner services and devices to actually get things done for you.
Wow, tens of thousands.
Yeah. The sheer scale and, importantly, the modularity of Alexa Plus isn't just impressive technically. It really reveals a crucial insight, I think. Successful large-scale agent deployments seem to rely on breaking down these massive, complex problems, breaking them into these manageable, specialized expert systems that can then coordinate across these huge interconnected networks.
That modular approach makes a lot of sense for something that complex. So, okay, beyond the internal development and this massive reimagining of a consumer product like Alexa, what does this all mean for us, the users? How are these agents actually showing up in our daily lives or maybe in big businesses right now?
Well, we're seeing really powerful examples across incredibly diverse industries. It's not just retail or tech. From the AWS perspective, beyond the consumer-facing Alexa, they also showed off Amazon Q Developer. This is their code assistant. It's basically an agent for the command line interface, the CLI. It helps developers debug issues, read and write files. It essentially makes that day-to-day terminal work significantly more productive.
Okay, a developer tool.
Exactly. And what really stands out here, I think, is the speed they mentioned. This particular agent was apparently built and shipped in just 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Wow.
Yeah, which just highlights the incredible agility and execution mode, as they put it, that AI seems to enable now.
That rapid 3-week deployment for Amazon Q is definitely impressive. What is it about their execution mode that allows for that kind of speed? Is that something that applies broadly? And, beyond Amazon, we also heard from leaders at Tripadvisor and Oracle Health. That should give us an even wider view of these real-world applications.
Yeah, it really speaks to a fundamental shift, maybe, in how software can be developed, where the LLM's understanding can dramatically accelerate automating tasks. And yes, those other examples definitely reinforce that broader impact. Rahul from Tripadvisor, for instance, he sort of categorized their agent use cases into 3 main areas.
Okay, what were they?
So first, product-facing agents. Their main example was their AI-based trip planner. And this isn't just some experiment. They said it's already helped create over 2 million trips for users.
2 million already? Wow.
Yeah. And underneath that main planner, there are even sub-agents handling specific tasks like summarizing hotel reviews and stuff like that. Second area was internal productivity agents. These are supporting various functions within the company, engineering, marketing, finance, basically streamlining their own operations. And the third area they called externalizing intelligence. This involves strategic partnerships. Think companies like Perplexity and, again, Alexa, where Tripadvisor's vast data and capabilities are exposed and utilized through these external agents, extending their reach beyond their own site or app.
Interesting. So internal, external, and product facing. Yep. Makes sense. And then beyond travel, another sector that seems really uniquely poised for this agentic transformation is healthcare. Anu from Oracle Health shared some really compelling insights on how agents are reshaping that landscape.
Right, and this brings up an important question. Why healthcare specifically? Anu explained that the domain is sort of uniquely prepared, maybe even desperate, for agents, partly due to a huge workforce shortage. It's a critical problem globally. So these digital workers, or agents, can actually help fill those gaps. They can focus on vital areas like improving patient care coordination, optimizing costs, managing complex clinical trials, and crucially, connecting all that disparate data that plagues healthcare to close gaps in care.
Connecting data, yeah, that's huge in healthcare.
Exactly. Imagine, for instance, creating digital caregivers for, say, cancer patients. People who might otherwise lack really personalized support just due to resource constraints. Agents could potentially provide that ongoing guidance and monitoring. It's about directly addressing that human capital crisis with intelligent automation, where it makes sense.
That's a really powerful application. But, okay, building these complex, interconnected systems, especially with the, let's face it, inherent variability of LLMs, that sounds like a monumental task.
Yeah?
What are the core strategies companies are using to actually build and deploy these agents quickly and effectively? And, make sure they work reliably.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
NJ Barth from AWS mentioned that they fundamentally rethought how to build agents. They developed what they call a model-driven approach. This basically taps into the power of the LLMs themselves, letting developers focus more on what an agent should ultimately do its goal or task, rather than having to meticulously detail how to perform every single step along the way.
Okay, so abstracting away some of the complexity.
Exactly. They've even open sourced a Python SDK. It's called Strand Agents, apparently named by an AI, which is quite fitting.
Yeah.
And this SDK significantly simplifies that process of connecting the LLM, the brain, with the various tools it needs to interact with to get stuff done.
Right. So it's about making it easier for developers to leverage the, powerful reasoning and planning capabilities of these LLMs without getting totally bogged down in the low-level plumbing. What's particularly interesting about Strand Agents you mentioned is that it integrates with Amazon Bedrock, sure, but it's not limited to AWS, right?
Right.
It also works with other providers like Llama, OpenAI, even custom models.
That's right. Flexibility seems key.
Yeah. And plus, it comes with over 20 pre-built tools for common tasks, apparently. And it even supports managing massive numbers of tools. They gave an example, didn't they? An internal AWS agent managing 6,000 tools.
Yeah, 6,000. And the way it does that is clever. It uses semantic search. So instead of trying to load all 6,000 tools into the LLM's limited context window, which would be impossible, it intelligently figures out which tools are relevant for the current task and just pulls those ones in.
Okay. That efficiency is critical for scale, I imagine.
Definitely. And this capability, managing vast tool sets, it also ties into a key strategic debate that both Rahul from Tripadvisor and Anu from Oracle Health discussed.
Yeah.
This idea of model maximalism versus application maximalism.
Okay. Break that down. Model versus application maximalism.
So with model maximalism, you essentially try to have the LLM figure out almost everything. Just throw the problem at the smartest model you have. The example Rahul gave was like just pointing the best LLM at Tripadvisor's billion-plus reviews and expecting it to perfectly summarize them all on its own with minimal guidance.
Right. Just let the model handle it.
Yeah. But on the other hand, application maximalism is where the LLM actually does a bit less, and you rely more on a robust application layer around it. This layer orchestrates the more complex workflows, handles tricky integrations, manages state, and Rahul seemed to lean heavily towards this application maximalism approach.
Why is that?
Well, especially because integrating agents into existing workflows, particularly dealing with legacy systems, is just incredibly hard. Trying to make an LLM directly navigate, archaic databases or obscure internal APIs, that can lead to a lot of errors and really unpredictable behavior. It's brittle.
Okay, so the emphasis shifts. It's less about an all-knowing LLM and more about a carefully engineered application layer that handles the really complex workflow parts. That makes a lot of sense, especially given the complexities in healthcare that Anu mentioned. But does this application maximalism approach maybe introduce its own challenges, like maybe more development overhead or less flexibility if you're building more custom logic?
That's a fair point. It's a trade-off, right? But it's about leveraging each component for its strengths. Anu from Oracle Health really echoed this sentiment. She noted that in healthcare, those big foundational models often just lack the deep domain understanding needed for clinical accuracy. And the data itself is often sparse, messy, incredibly complex. So relying solely on a raw LLM would be insufficient, maybe even dangerous.
Right, the stakes are higher.
Exactly. They also highlighted that their customers, like hospitals or clinics, want autonomy and customization. Similar, she said, to how tools like Power BI allowed business users to slice and dice their own insights instead of just getting static reports. So this means providing customers with Lego building blocks or maybe agent studios, letting them tailor agents to their specific needs and workflows rather than just throwing everything in a single black box model. Their whole product strategy for integrating LLMs sounded completely vertical and customer driven, very focused on ROI, solving critical, tangible problems, like specifically reducing appointment delays for cancer patients. That's a concrete goal.
And for Tripadvisor, going back to them, their product strategy seemed to be more about embracing conversational interfaces as the new norm for their users, moving away from those static search pages to a simpler chat-based experience, which, makes a lot of sense for travel planning. It is iterative, involves a lot of back and forth.
Totally. It fits the user journey better.
Yeah. And they also recognize the need for multimodality in travel, integrating text, videos, images into the agent experience to give richer information. Okay, so these agents are clearly powerful, but as we've touched on, they're also incredibly complex systems. How do companies actually ensure these things work reliably, especially when they're interacting with so many different systems, some probably fragile, and LLMs themselves, as you said, don't always succeed 100% of the time. Debugging that kind of distributed complexity sounds like an absolute nightmare.
It really does. And this raises that crucial point about the inherent, unreliability of complex distributed systems in general. AI just adds another layer. Somol from Temporal emphasized this really strongly. Agents aren't just bits of software, they are, at their core, complex distributed systems. And they absolutely must scale, they must provide durability, and ensure reliability. The challenge, as you said, is that LLMs don't always get it right. Combine that with multiple services interacting, maybe asynchronously over long periods. Debugging becomes incredibly difficult. You often lack clear visibility into the state of the whole process or why a particular sequence of operations failed. It leads to what some developers call dark debugging, where you're basically just guessing what went wrong.
Dark debugging. I like that term, paints a picture. So that's where a platform like Temporal comes in, right? They essentially allow companies to sort of outsource the really hard part. So the reliability and scalability, is that the idea? So developers can focus more on the core business logic of their agents.
Precisely. That's the core value proposition. Temporal uses this abstraction they call a workflow. You can imagine it as like a resilient blueprint for a complex series of actions your agent needs to take. It reliably guides the agent step by step, even if individual parts of the system fail temporarily or take a long time to respond. This workflow code orchestrates multiple processes. It handles state reliably over potentially long periods, days, weeks, even months. And it can even manage points where human interaction or approval is needed.
Okay, so it's code, but it's stateful and resilient code.
Exactly. And they provide SDKs in various languages, Python being particularly popular in the AI space, naturally making it easy for developers to write these workflows. The Temporal platform itself then handles all that messy plumbing code, things like automatic retries, complex error handling, state persistence. It does that transparently. This ensures the reliable execution of the workflow logic. And it's apparently battle-tested, used in mission-critical applications by companies like Gorgeous, for example, handling customer service automation at scale and production. Gives them confidence.
Right. So engineers can potentially accelerate development quite a bit, get these sophisticated agent applications into production maybe in weeks, not months or years, and scale them without constantly worrying about the underlying infrastructure that often trips up these complex distributed systems. Plus, you mentioned they store all the workflow history. That seems critical for visibility, debugging, and maybe even compliance, right? Customers probably want that audit trail.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Having that complete execution history is invaluable for understanding what happened, diagnosing failures, and meeting compliance requirements.
Okay. This deep dive has covered a lot of ground, from what agents are to how they're being built and how companies are trying to make them reliable. As we start to wrap up, what are some of the biggest takeaways or maybe lessons learned from the folks who are really pioneering this space right now?
Yeah. Rahul from Tripadvisor offer two insights that felt really critical for teams actually building agents today. They really resonated. First, he stressed you absolutely need to define your inputs and outputs up front. Seems basic, but crucial. Integration, he said, is just a massive challenge. Understanding exactly what systems your agent needs to connect to and how its outputs will be pushed back into existing workflows. Especially when you're dealing with a mix of legacy systems, modern stacks, maybe even different programming languages across teams. Thinking that through early can prevent an enormous amount of pain and rework later on. Skipping it often leads to agents that work fine in a demo but can't actually integrate.
Yeah, the last mile integration problem, always tricky. What was the second insight?
Second, he highlighted that evaluating the quality of agent output is still a major challenge. It's not really a solved problem, especially when you have multi-agent systems where many components are interacting and influencing the final result. TripAdvisor apparently uses a combination of approaches: human evaluators, user surveys, and also in-app metrics like those thumbs-up-down buttons you see in chat prompts. And getting this quality assessment right is crucial because, as he pointed out, wrong recommendations like suggesting a steakhouse to a known vegetarian can instantly erode user trust, and then the agent is useless.
Trust is everything, especially with AI making decisions. And he left us with one more thought, didn't he? A bit provocative.
Yeah, he did. He basically said, look, developing a proper agent is really hard work. It's complex. It's resource intensive. You should really pause and ask yourself, do you truly need an agent for this problem? Or would a simple cron job, just a basic scheduled automated task, actually accomplish the same goal with far less complexity and overhead?
Huh. That's a great reality check. Don't use a sledgehammer to crack a nut, basically. Use the right tool for the job.
Exactly. It's a great way to think critically about applying this powerful but sometimes overhyped technology. And looking a bit further ahead, Antigare Berth from AWS also spoke about what she sees as the next frontier for agents, which is making them talk to each other seamlessly and securely.
Ah, agent-to-agent communication.
Right. Open protocols are starting to emerge to enable this, things like multi-party computation protocols he mentioned. These would allow agents to securely and efficiently share information and coordinate tasks without needing some big central authority or revealing sensitive data unnecessarily to third parties. She even quoted one of her colleagues, Danielle, saying something pretty profound. The atomic unit of all digital interactions will be an agent call.
Wow. The atomic unit will be an agent call. That's a mind-blowing thought. This vision of, like, personal agents interacting with vast agent stores or other agents to accomplish tasks for us, if that's really the direction, the atomic unit of digital interaction in the future, it genuinely feels like we're just at the very beginning of this incredible journey. So much more to explore.
Well, what a deep dive. We've definitely covered the what, the why, and the how of these next-gen AI agents, from their pretty transformative potential to the nitty-gritty of actually building and deploying them reliably, and touching on the big questions still being explored by these industry leaders.
Yeah, we hope this gives you, our listeners, a clearer picture and maybe some actionable insights into this really rapidly evolving field. There's always more to learn, of course, and that critical thinking, like Rahul suggested, is just essential as we all navigate this new era of AI.
Absolutely. Hit like and subscribe if you like the content. See you next time.